I forgot again to thank you for the finding those gifted memberships before you walked into the stream. So thanks for picking those up and dropping them
Oh,
off for me.
yeah, you left those out in the hallway, so.
Uh, yeah, so the whole computer crashed there for a minute. I was doing the old like freeze frame thing. Kind of like DeBrusque on that overtime freeze frame. Didn't realize what his assignment was. So
Well, and Besser too. He cuts off that pass. And I was watching him, waiting for him to turn on the Jets, and he just gives it away. I was like, "What? What just happened?" It was a weird blunder for sure.
yeah, it's kind of weird that how that goes, right? Like DeBrusque scores the goal to send it overtime, and then is part of the reason that they actually lose it too, right? So maybe that Taylor Swift hanger hasn't quite worn off yet.
Well, possession's so important in overtime too, and St. Louis won both of the face-offs and had possession for the majority of the play there. I mean, we really only took it when Besser looked like he took the possession there for a second and gave it right back. So, um, a lot of positive things though from that. Demko looked real good in the third.
Mm-hmm.
Made some huge saves, a big toe save, doing the splits in true Demko fashion. He definitely got us to overtime with the way he played in the second half of that game. Good on the guys to get it to overtime to get the 1 point, but obviously too little, too late. When you end up losing.
Yeah. I mean, PD had a heck of games, and then he was throwing his body around. And that pass out to Brusque in front to set it up for the third goal, an absolute beaut too. So Pedersen's got to get some props out because he was doing everything he could to get that game into overtime, and he ended up setting it up so they could.
Yeah, no, PD had a great bounce back game after last game where he did virtually nothing. It's good to see that it didn't turn into a slump and he bounced back quickly. DeBrusque too did have a good game, other than that missed assignment in overtime there, letting Holloway get straight to the net, basically uncontested.
Kind of funny to see too. I'm just seeing the highlights of Besser getting that penalty call against him on Pareko, and then Pareko goes in on the next play and actually tips it into his own net. So is that kind of like a Freudian slip maybe for Pareko, knowing that that should have been a penalty? So he's like, here, let me help you guys out.
Yeah, that penalty call was so bad. It changed the momentum of the game so quickly there. The Canucks going down 3-1. I mean, yeah, we got the penalty back quickly, but you can't be making that call. Like, that is a full-blown missed call by a ref that is too far from the play and shouldn't be making a a penalty call based off of the aftermath.
So then they were talking about it too, because then everyone who was in chat was asking about it. So since it was 4-on-4 in regulation and that went carried over into overtime, why were the players not allowed to leave the penalty box when their penalties were up? Shouldn't it have become 4-on-4 in overtime?
No, so the way that works is when there's a power play in overtime, you have to do a 4-on-3 power play because there's no such thing as a 3-on-2. So when there's a penalty for one team in overtime, they have a 4-on-3, and then when that penalty expires, that player has to exit the box to allow it to be an even strength situation. So in that case, it would end up being 4-on-4 in overtime. In this case, it was the teams were even anyways, so no one gains an advantage or a disadvantage by not having them come out of the box. In which case, you just start 3-on-3 and you carry on. And the next stoppage, the players are allowed to leave the box. Similar to if it were just a coincidental penalty in regulation play and it were 5-on-5 and there were a guy on each team in the box.
Yeah, that makes sense. The other one I wanted to ask about was the Sherwood penalty, because like delayed offside, obviously, but the guy had the puck, so you're not allowed to hit anyone on a delayed offside as well as not touch the puck. Is that what the rule is?
I think he got called for the aftermath. I
Mm,
don't think he was initially getting called for the hit. What was going to be called was an intentional offside to send it back into the Canucks zone,
right.
um, saying basically that that he ignored the linesman calling an offside and went for the hit and played the puck when he shouldn't have. But he really shouldn't have got a roughing penalty after Sundqvist jumped on top of him. That's on the Blues player to be a man and take a hit when you get hit. It's hockey. It's a contact sport. So when Sherwood's on the ice, you better be ready to take a hit. It doesn't matter if it's a delayed offside or if it's any type of play. He's playing to the whistle, and the whistle hadn't gone yet. So he sees puck, he sees player has puck. He's going to hit him. That's Sherwood's game, and he's never going to stop. So unfortunate that it ended up coincidental and we didn't get a power play out of that. But you know, hopefully we get Miller back on the ice for a full practice tomorrow and back in the lineup to take on the Florida Panthers on Thursday because we're going to need all hands on deck.
Yeah. Because last time they played Florida, I don't think they had Barkov in the lineup, and that's a big piece to be missing. So,
Yeah, they didn't have Kachuk either. So, definitely a big task on Thursday. I would expect some changes to be made on our back end as well. 5-on-5 when Hughes wasn't out there, I think our as a team we were only generating about 3 shots on net total
mhm.
for the other four defensemen. Um, you see how valuable. Look, Brandstrom had a terrible weekend. He didn't have the greatest a couple of games. So he did need a night off to kind of refresh and look at it from above. But you see his value in the puck movement out of our zone and how our breakout really struggled beyond Hughes throughout the lineup. So I would expect to see him back in the lineup on Thursday. Maybe we get Forbert in the lineup as well, and we have essentially a fully healthy team.
Well, that's the thing too. I was going to ask you about Friedman because obviously Demko is the big player coming back for the game, but Friedman's first game in a long time got called up. Maybe was it like even like 10 games ago or 10 days ago or something like that. So he's just been sitting around. Is it maybe one of those cases where they just like we need to get this guy a game, or was it just exclusively because of Brandstrom's play on the weekend?
I think it was probably a little of both. You have a guy sitting who's plays the right side as a right hand shot. Doesn't hurt to get him into a game. And he had a very good game. He took a couple of big blocks there, one right in the beak
Mm-hmm.
late, but was right out there for his next shift. So having a guy like that ready to go is great. But it did show that he hasn't played much. The communication struggled with our defense a little bit today. Um, but the game could have been much worse. However, we need to have stronger starts again. Playing from behind the whole game was we make a joke of it and say like, yeah, we're down by one and we tied it up. I was really hoping we won in overtime so I could be like, I told you, down one, right where we wanted them, but it didn't pan out this game.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the St. Louis Blues are a team that's known for their physical play, but yet another game, and we talk about this almost every single game, the Canucks doubled them in hits. The Canucks had 30 hits. St. Louis only had 15 hits. Are teams just going to be afraid to play the Canucks at this point? Like they're a team that are getting 30 hits a game, let alone like, we're talking like Sherwood's going to end up blowing that hit record out of the water, but it's not just him throwing hits, it's everyone throwing their body around top to bottom.
Could you imagine if we were as good at getting shots through as we are at throwing hits? Because holy moly, that last 5 minute stretch there when we were hitting shin pad after shin pad after shin pad and struggling to get any shot through to the net, I was screaming at the screen, being like, "What are we doing? Like, just bank it off the corner boards or something. Get it through because you're playing with fire." If you're shooting it into shin pads because it ricochets past you and they're gone on a breakaway. We saw how many breakaways were given up today. I think there were 3 in the second period alone. So a great display for Demko coming back. He looked pretty sharp. He had to shake the rust off fast and made some key saves, but yeah, they definitely not the most solid game defensively for us overall.
Yeah. Canucks went 1 for 3 on the power play, but I felt like it looked a lot more dangerous than those stats give it justice for. Is it unlucky that they didn't get more goals? Because I know we did have Pedersen hit that crossbar on the power play as well.
Yeah, definitely. PD getting that shot back will make that power play very dangerous. And of course, with Miller right on the horizon, we'll have our full power play 1 unit back. Everyone in their regular positions. Besser can get back into kind of his bumper spot, and he'll have Miller back feeding him those teed up passes. So I would expect the power play to get hot here and start burying more and more, and becoming something that other teams don't want to face.
Connor Garland with another 2 assist night. Man just can't stop skating.
But his puck control is incredible. Hey, on the boards,
Yeah.
like, is there anyone better in the league? That he's slippery. He finds a way to just get away from checks. He doesn't get blown up. He does get hit hard from time to time, but he doesn't get absolutely rocked.
Mhm.
And he absorbs the hit, but maintains puck control, which is a talent that is you're born with. You can't learn what he's doing out there. It's absolutely incredible. It's a skill that makes him very valuable, and you see it when he's below the goal line in the offensive zone, how he can get back and forth. He's almost like two guys on the cycle in one, and it allows so much more space for Suter and Joshua out there to move around. And it's really great to have him on our team. And it's great that he's grown so much under Tockett's coaching, and it didn't end up getting traded when there was some controversy early last year. It's just really nice to see his hard work being rewarded, and hopefully he can keep going here.
There's another night too where the number one star of the game ends up being Rob Thomas. He ends up getting a goal and 2 assists, similar to the last game where you had Point and what's his face? I can't remember his name right now. The Russian guy starts with a K.
Kucherov.
There you go. So and when you see that, when these guys are getting these big point totals, it makes you think, okay, maybe it is just that one defensive pair that's having trouble. Because the one line who's getting all the points for the other team. Is that kind of what we're seeing, where other teams are coming in and now picking apart the Canucks bottom pair?
I think definitely we're getting victimized a bit by our lack of D. Um, Hopefully, once everyone's in the lineup, it won't take long to see what we need. And obviously, we'll get Chef Alvin in the kitchen looking to make a trade. I don't know if it'll be before Christmas, but it will be in short order after the freeze of contracts opens back up.
Yeah. So the 3 stars round out as Rob Thomas, number one, with a goal and 2 assists. Connor Garland that got the 2 assists in the second spot. And then Holloway, the one that got away from Edmonton, 1 goal and the big one,
One of
obviously, and then an assist as well. So um I mean, we don't usually talk about it. Is he just like playing with a chip on his shoulder to be like, hey, Edmonton, you should have re-signed me?
Well, I think he and Broberg both are. Broberg has been a big part of the offense this season. He's playing top line minutes. He's their power play D man, and he's picked up right where he left off when he started the season real hot after his injury. So I think Edmonton has got hot recently, and is getting better and playing more as Edmonton should, but they'd sure love to have those two guys in an Oilers jersey, and for sure are probably kicking themselves a bit for letting them slide through the cracks.
I'm almost a little surprised that they didn't get Pedersen didn't get that second star because he was scored that power play goal and then also set up the third goal as well. And like I said, had a really good night. So um, probably potential there for Pedersen to have that second star. I mean, even Besser with his 10th and 11th assists of the season. So that top line definitely picked up their socks after having their Taylor Swift hangover the other day. Um, I mean, do you maybe even just keep that line together even with Miller coming back, or do you just go back to the old school?
I don't think you keep it together with Miller coming back. I think you got to give him Besser back. You want Miller to have success coming back from a situation like this where it's a personal leave of absence, where there was some obviously mental stuff going on. You want him to have his comfort, and his comfort line before he left was Besser on his wing and Suter on the other side. So I would expect to see that happen. I would probably, you'd likely probably see Sherwood jump up to back up to PD's line with the Brusque, and then you'll see the Bluger, Joshua, Garland line back together, reunited, to find their chemistry again. That was so powerful last year. Is probably the best third line in the league.
Is it nice that we're not talking about how bad Susie and Myers are lately too?
Oh, ever since they've been split up, they've been very good.
Yeah. It's like they're the reverse of McKinnon and Makar, right? Like when they play together, they make each other worse. So now that you got them split up, they're actually doing well.
Yeah, yeah. No, the shakeup on the defense has helped. Tonight, obviously, having Brandstrom come out caused a bit of a hiccup. You had Desharnais playing with Friedman, and so that was a little bit different for someone who hasn't played at all this season. Um, you find yourself kind of playing a little more cautious, I guess, and that can put you in positions that you normally wouldn't put yourself in, and that's when mistakes happen and goals end up in the back of your net. So overall, sucks to lose two in a row, but at least we got a point out of this one, and we can look forward to maybe getting Miller back and some positive things on Thursday to grow and maybe get a W against the Stanley Cup champs.
Yeah. Would it be nice to beat them again after defeating them on home ice to have them defeat them and go 2-0 against the Stanley Cup champs in the season would be great. Looking a little bit further ahead, then we got another big rival coming in on the weekend on the 14th. The Boston Bruins are in town, and obviously we remember that we beat them 2-0 in their home stadium. So we got a couple of big teams coming through. So getting Miller back in the lineup would be very good for the team right now, I think.
Yeah, and then Colorado right behind that. So the schedule's not getting any easier until we go on the road into Utah. So definitely three tough games in a row here coming up.
Yeah. Should I be should I be scared or should I be excited about these next couple games? Because really it's a good test for the Canucks as well. And that's one thing that you sometimes talk about is going into these games, it's about where do you measure up? And you can't do that against teams like, I mean, St. Louis played well and they did play well against Minnesota. But when you're talking about like true Stanley Cup contenders like Colorado and Florida, and even the Colorado one, they just picked up Blackwood, which seems to be the Canucks kind of kryptonite goaltender. So
Yeah.
what do you expect if you're gonna make a quick prediction for these next three games for the Canucks? Or what do you think their record will be afterwards?
I think they can win two of them. I think they can beat Florida. I think the energy of getting Miller back, as long as they can channel that properly, we could get a win out of them. Boston's struggling right now. They just got smoked tonight again. They are trying to find their way under the new interim coach ever since Montgomery has left. So we probably get another win out of them. And then Colorado will be a tough one. They're starting to get healthy. Nichushkin's starting to find his stride after his lengthy absence as well. They have a new goaltender that is probably going to be getting a lot more minutes, and a lot of people have said like, oh, are worried that Blackwood isn't going to be able to carry the load there in Colorado, but he's quietly had a very strong start to his year. He has a 911 save percentage on a very poor San Jose Sharks team. He's the only reason they've been somewhat competitive. So um, I would expect to see a tough test against Colorado. That's probably the one that I would almost guarantee a loss.
You do have to remember though, Pedersen is really, really good against the Colorado Avalanche in general. So I'd love to see that. And I even didn't say it during the first intermission when I had you on, when you're talking about the Abbey Canucks, Lecker getting 4 goals in 2 games against the Colorado AHL affiliate, which is very PD-esque of him. And we do see a lot of that PD game in Lecker. So maybe we could see some Pedersen magic, and he was just really showing up Makar on that night next week.
Yeah, it'd be nice for Hughes to elevate his game and prove that that he's the superior defenseman in the league.
Because then everyone from ESPN would be forced to watch that game, right? Or they already just going to bed.
Yeah, no, they're gonna watch. They gotta watch, right?
Yeah. Awesome, Dustin. So enjoy the rest of the night, and we'll keep our eyes on the Canucks practice tomorrow. See if Miller gets into those line rushes with the whole team during the full practice, and we'll see you again on Thursday for Florida.
Sounds great, man. Have a good night, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Nothing is perfect.